The Silent Guardian. The USV Nightingale shuddered as another power relay blew. Emergency lights flickered across the medical bay, casting ghoulish shadows over the faces of the wounded. 300 refugees from the Proxima colonies lay in makeshift beds, their bodies broken from the orbital bombardment that had turned their homes to ash 2 weeks prior. Captain Samira Hassan gripped the edge of the command console, her dark eyes reflecting the emergency displays. "Status report," she demanded, voice steady despite the chaos. "Life support holding at 60%. Lieutenant Park responded, his fingers dancing across the controls. "Hull breach on Deck 4 contained. Medical systems running on backup power." The Nightingale wasn't built for this. A Mercury-class hospital ship, she was designed for disaster relief and humanitarian missions. Her gleaming white hull bore the universal medical emblem, a promise of sanctuary and neutrality in a galaxy fractured by territorial disputes. That promise had been shattered 30 minutes ago, when 3 Vraxian warships dropped out of hyperspace and opened fire without warning or provocation. "Why aren't they responding to our hails?" Hassan asked, staring at the tactical display where the alien vessels hovered like predators. "We've transmitted our medical registry in 17 different formats." "They know exactly what we are," a quiet voice answered from the doorway. Dr. Ilara Chen stood with a data tablet clutched against her chest, her slender frame dwarfed by the chaos around her. Unlike the other medical staff in their rumpled white uniforms, she wore simple gray coveralls with no insignia. Her black hair was pulled back severely, revealing the delicate neural interface implant that traced a silver line from her temple to behind her ear. "They're not attacking us by mistake," she continued, approaching the command console. "This is deliberate. They want what we're carrying." Hassan frowned. "We're a hospital ship. The only cargo we have is medical supplies and refugees." "And research data," Chen corrected, placing her tablet on the console. "The quantum pathogen mapping we recovered from Proxima Station before evacuation. It's the only surviving copy of a breakthrough that could end the Taurus plague." The bridge fell silent. The Taurus plague had devastated 11 worlds in the past decade. The Vraxians had been particularly hard hit, but instead of seeking collaboration, their military government had grown increasingly isolationist and aggressive. "They want to control the cure," Hassan realized, "not share it." Chen nodded once, her expression unreadable. "We have 43 minutes before they return. They're repositioning for a boarding action." "How can you possibly know that?" Park asked. "Vraxian attack formations follow predictable patterns," Chen replied simply. "They'll regroup, assess damage, and prepare boarding parties. Standard tactical doctrine." Hassan studied the woman with new interest. Chen had come aboard at the last minute before the Proxima evacuation, a specialist assigned to secure the research data. Her credentials were impeccable but vague. Now Hassan wondered what wasn't in those files. "You've encountered them before," Hassan stated rather than asked. Chen's eyes, a startling amber color, met hers directly. "In another life. One I left behind." She turned to the tactical display. "Captain, we can't outrun them. We can't fight them conventionally, but we can survive them." "We're a medical vessel," Hassan objected. "We're not armed." A thin smile crossed Chen's face. "No, we're something far more dangerous. We're a ship full of tools designed to save lives, which means we have everything needed to end them." Over the next 37 minutes, the Nightingale transformed. Medical staff moved with purpose, following Chen's precise directions. Surgical lasers were rewired and mounted near access points. Medication dispensers were reprogrammed to release targeted aerosols. Magnetic resonance imagers became electromagnetic pulse generators. In the pediatric ward, Nurse Carver watched in horror as Chen dismantled a neonatal support unit. "This is insane," he protested. "These systems are meant to heal, not harm." Chen didn't look up as her fingers reconfigured the delicate machine. "Do you know what happens when a directed cellular regeneration beam is reversed and amplified? It doesn't regenerate tissue. It dissolves it." You're talking about turning life-saving equipment into weapons. I'm talking about survival. Chen's hands tilled momentarily. The patients in this ward, can they be moved? Some, not all, Carver admitted. The critical cases won't survive transport. Chen nodded. Then we protect them here. The Vraxians will target medical bays first. Standard procedure when capturing research vessels. How do you know all this? Carver asked. For a moment, something like regret flickered across Chen's face. I designed their boarding protocols before I understood what they would do with them. In engineering, Chief Rodriguez followed Chen's schematics to reroute power from the ship's diagnostic systems. This will overload every neural scanner on the ship, he warned. Yes, Chen agreed, typing commands into her tablet. And when the Vraxians connect to our systems, they'll find what appears to be a damaged medical network. When they attempt access, the feedback loop will fry their neural implants. Rodriguez paled. That's brutal. So is attacking the hospital ship, Chen replied without emotion. Install the bypass relay. We have 17 minutes. On the bridge, Hassan watched the tactical display as the Vraxian vessels completed their repositioning. They're coming back, she announced over the ship-wide comm. All personnel, prepare for boarding action. Non-combat staff, proceed to designated safe zones. Chen returned to the bridge, her tablet now displaying a complete schematic of the ship with glowing points marking each modified system. We're ready, she said. When they board, seal all compartments according to this sequence. She transferred the data to the main console. Don't deviate. Hassan studied the pattern. This will funnel them through specific corridors. Yes, each one prepared. Chen's voice was calm, methodical. They expect to find terrified medical personnel and helpless patients. Instead, they'll find that we've prepared a very special kind of treatment for them. You'll turn our ship into a killing field, Hassan said quietly. Chen met her gaze steadily. I'm turning it into a lesson that will echo across the galaxy. After today, no one will dare attack a medical vessel again. The Vraxian boarding craft struck the Nightingale with surgical precision, magnetic clamps securing to the hull at 3 separate points. The ship shuddered as cutting beams sliced through the outer plating. Alarms wailed throughout the vessel as atmospheric integrity was compromised. In the dimmed command center, Chen stood beside Hassan, watching the internal sensors. It begins, she murmured. The first Vraxian boarding party breached Deck 7. 6 warriors in articulated combat armor moved in perfect formation, weapons sweeping methodically through the darkened corridor. Their elongated helmets featured sensor arrays that glowed with an eerie blue light, scanning for life signs. They found a ship seemingly abandoned. Emergency lighting only. Systems in standby mode. No resistance. The lead warrior signaled an all clear, and they advanced toward Medical Bay 3, where their sensors detected the largest concentration of humans. Behind them, a diagnostic panel quietly came to life, its display showing the children's cartoon character, a smiling sun with a cheerful face. It blinked once, emitted a soft chime, and then released a focused pulse of reconfigured cellular disruption energy. The Vraxian warriors never had a chance to turn around. On the bridge, Chen watched the life signs of the boarding party blink out simultaneously. First team neutralized, she reported. Rerouting secondary systems. Prepare for the main assault. Hassan stared at her. What did you just do? I introduced them to human ingenuity, Chen replied, her fingers moving rapidly across the console. They believe technology exists to serve its original purpose. We understand that anything can be repurposed. You're not just a data specialist, are you? Hassan asked. Chen's hand stilled for a moment. No, she admitted. I was the architect of the Adaptive Defense Initiative, the military AI program that was too dangerous to deploy. A mirthless smile touched her lips. They couldn't use my program, so they used the next best thing. They uploaded my consciousness into a synthetic body and classified my existence. Hassan's eyes widened. You're an artificial intelligence. I'm whatever humanity needed me to be, Chen corrected. And right now, Captain, I am this ship's only hope of survival. On the tactical display, the remainder of the Vraxian boarding parties breached the hull at multiple points. 20 warriors entered through the cargo bay, 12 more through the auxiliary medical lab, 30 through the main docking port. Chen watched them with cold precision. Now, she said softly, they learn what happens when you attack those under human protection. Throughout the Nightingale, medical equipment hummed to life, reprogrammed and repurposed. In the silence of the abandoned corridors, the hunt began. But the hunters had become the prey. The reckoning. Second Officer Vreeks of the Vraxian Elite Guard moved cautiously through the darkened corridor of the human vessel. The ship's silence unnerved him. His squad had expected resistance, terrified medical personnel, perhaps even a token security force. But instead, they found only emptiness. His neural implant pinged softly, detecting life signs ahead in what shipboard schematics identified as a primary treatment center. Proceed to objective, he ordered through the tactical network. Secure all research data. Capture medical staff for interrogation. His warriors acknowledged with silent nods, their armored forms moving with practiced efficiency. They approached a sealed door marked with human medical symbols. Sensors indicated multiple life forms beyond, weak signatures consistent with injured organics. Breach and clear, Vreeks commanded. The door slid open at their approach, unusual for a ship under attack. Beyond lay a cavernous medical bay filled with rows of beds. Patients lay still under emergency lighting, monitoring equipment pulsing softly beside them. No medical staff visible. Vreeks' instincts screamed warning. Scan for traps, he ordered. His second-in-command activated enhanced sensors. Nothing, Commander. Systems appeared damaged from our initial attack, operating at minimal capacity. Vreeks hesitated, then gestured his team forward. Secure the perimeter. Locate the main data terminal. They spread through the medical bay, moving between the rows of patients. Most appeared unconscious, some connected to life support systems. Primitive technology by Vraxian standards, but effective enough to keep damaged organics functioning. The tactical officer located a central control station. Commander, I've found the primary medical database. Vreeks approached, studying the human interface. Connect and extract all research data. The officer extended a data probe from his gauntlet, connecting to the system. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the officer stiffened, his armor suddenly rigid. Sir, he gasped, something's. The control panel lit up, displaying a simple message in Vraxian script. Thank you for your communication. Every medical monitor in the bay simultaneously emitted a high-frequency pulse. The tactical officer collapsed, neural implants overloaded. 3 more warriors fell where they stood, their combat systems shorting out in cascading failures. Vreeks staggered back, manual overrides barely protecting his own systems. Ambush, he shouted, raising his weapon. Fall back and regroup. But the exit had sealed behind them. Around the room, patients were sitting up in their beds, except they weren't patients at all. The blankets fell away, revealing compact medical drones, their diagnostic appendages now reconfigured into something far more lethal. Across the ship, similar scenes unfolded. In the surgical wing, Commander Azex's elite team encountered what appeared to be a human child's medical support unit. It greeted them with a cheerful melody before releasing a concentrated burst of modified surgical nanites that slipped through their armor's filtration system. In the research laboratory, squad leader Rick watched in horror as diagnostic scanners pivoted toward his warriors, their healing beams reversed to target cellular degradation. On the bridge, Dr. Ilara Chen monitored each encounter with detached precision, adjusting systems remotely as needed. The Vraxian command structure is fragmenting, she reported. They've lost 60% of their boarding parties. Captain Hassan watched the tactical display with a mixture of awe and horror. This isn't defense, she whispered. It's systematic execution. It's efficiency, Chen corrected without looking up. They came prepared to kill patients and staff for research data. I'm simply using their own tactical doctrine against them." The ship's communications officer interrupted. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. 3 vessels just dropped out of hyperspace. Galactic Coalition Diplomatic Corps." Hassan straightened. "The response to our distress call." "Yes, Mom. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, demanding the Vraxian forces stand down." Chen's expression didn't change. Too late for diplomacy. On the main viewer, a coalition diplomatic vessel moved into position, its sleek hull gleaming in the starlight. A transmission cut through all channels. "This is Admiral Seneca of the Galactic Coalition. All Vraxian forces are ordered to cease hostilities against a protected medical vessel. This attack constitutes a war crime under Galactic Accord Section 17. Stand down immediately." In the medical bay, Vreeks fought desperately to regroup his surviving warriors. "Command carrier, emergency extraction," he shouted into his comm. "The humans have weaponized the entire ship." His only answer was static. On the upper deck, the last of his warriors fell to a modified bone-setting laser that had been repurposed into something that shattered armor like glass. Vreeks found himself alone, backing down a corridor as lights flickered ominously ahead of him. A figure stepped from the shadows. A human female, slight in build, her eyes reflecting the emergency lighting like a predator's. "You," Chen said simply. "Battle Commander Vreeks, architect of the Proxima orbital strikes that killed 17,000 civilians." Vreeks raised his weapon. "What are you?" "I'm what humanity creates when pushed too far," Chen replied. "I'm the lesson you failed to learn. That humans don't think like other species. Where you see dedicated tools, we see infinite possibilities. A medical scanner becomes a weapon. A healing laser becomes a cutting beam. A hospital ship becomes your grave." Vreeks fired. The energy bolt passed through Chen's form, distorting it momentarily before it reformed. A hologram. "Your actual opponent is this ship." Chen's voice echoed from all around him. "I've integrated with every system. I am the Nightingale now." The floor beneath Vreeks hummed. He looked down to see the metal rippling, medical nanites consuming the very deck plating. Outside, coalition forces had surrounded the Vraxian vessels. Admiral Seneca stood on the bridge of the diplomatic carrier, watching as the broadcast satellite captured every moment of the confrontation. "The feed is live throughout coalition space," his communications officer reported. "Over 16 billion viewers and climbing." On the screens, they watched as the Vraxian command ship attempted to retrieve its boarding parties, only to find communication blocked. The other Vraxian vessels began powering weapons. "They're going to destroy the evidence," Seneca realized. "Target their weapon systems and prepare to." He never finished the order. The Nightingale suddenly pulsed with energy, emitting a focused electromagnetic burst that disabled the Vraxian vessel's primary systems. The hospital ship's external speakers activated, broadcasting on all frequencies. "This is USV Nightingale," Chen's voice announced, calm and measured. "We are a medical vessel protected under Galactic Accord Section 17. We carry 304 civilian refugees and critical medical research intended to combat the Taurus plague. The unprovoked Vraxian attack has been documented and transmitted to all coalition worlds." The broadcast satellite zoomed in, capturing high-resolution images of the disabled Vraxian warships, the damaged hospital vessel, and the floating bodies of Vraxian boarding parties that had been ejected through emergency airlocks. "We demand justice," Chen continued, "and we serve notice to all species. Attacks on humanitarian missions will no longer be tolerated. What happened here today can happen anywhere medical personnel are threatened." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, leaders of 100 worlds watched in silence. The message was unmistakable. Humanity had drawn a line. 3 days later, Captain Hassan stood in the newly restored medical bay, watching as coalition engineers helped repair the damage to the Nightingale. Dr. Chen worked alongside them, her movements precise and efficient as always. "The Coalition Security Council has ruled," Hassan said, approaching Chen. "The Vraxians have been sanctioned and ordered to pay reparations. The surviving commanders will stand trial for war crimes." Chen nodded, not looking up from her work. "And the research data will be shared with all worlds affected by the Taurus plague, including Vraxia." This got Chen's attention. "They tried to steal it for themselves. And we're better than that," Hassan replied firmly. "That's the real message we needed to send." Chen was silent for a moment. "The Coalition also wants to know about me. About what I am." "I told them you're the ship's AI specialist," Hassan said carefully. "Nothing more. A convenient fiction." "Is it?" Hassan asked. "You integrated with our systems, yes. But what you did, transforming this ship, protecting these people, that wasn't just programming. That was choice." Chen considered this. "Perhaps. But now they'll want to study me, replicate what I can do. Or perhaps," Hassan suggested, "they'll recognize that creating weapons isn't always the answer. Sometimes what we need are guardians." She gestured around the medical bay, where patients were being treated by the same equipment that had defended them. "Tools can heal or harm. The difference lies in who wields them, and why." Chen's expression softened slightly. "A philosophical captain." "A practical one," Hassan corrected. "The Coalition is drafting new protocols. The Chen directives, they're calling them. All medical vessels will now carry defensive capabilities disguised as standard equipment. Not to seek conflict, but to ensure that what happened here never happens again." Outside the viewport, Coalition vessels surrounded the Nightingale in protective formation. Beyond them, the stars stretched into infinity, silent witnesses to a turning point in galactic history. Chen watched them for a long moment. "They were right to fear human ingenuity," she said quietly. "We see possibilities where others see only fixed purpose." "That's not what they should fear," Hassan replied. "What makes us dangerous isn't our adaptability. It's what we choose to protect." The Nightingale's engines hummed to life, its course set toward Coalition space, and the billions who awaited the cure it carried. Behind it, the wreckage of Vraxian ambition drifted in silence, a monument to a lesson painfully learned, that those who threatened the healers would face humanity's full ingenuity and its wrath. Across the galaxy, the message was received. The hospital ships of 100 worlds continued their missions of mercy, now carrying within them the seeds of their own defense. Not because they sought conflict, but because humanity had shown the stars what happened when compassion was forced to bare its teeth.